Jamar Fikes Jr. This meticulous basketball is going to show you how to use the chair to work on your rip series. I love using chairs because although they have cones and they have different structures with different arm movements and things like that, I still like the good old-fashioned chair. These are some old game chairs. So they're metal, but they got a little cushioning on them. So it's a lot of cool things you can do with them. We're going to talk about 3 different ways you can rip through your defender, okay? So we talk about the triple threat, all right? Triple threat is keeping yourself at an angle. You know, we used to always thought the triple threat was right here or right here where your feet are flat, where you want to kind of be at an angle so that this leg right here is always on the attack. You can jab at this defender and keep them off balance. But also, you want to keep the basketball away from your defender. So where we thought that the triple threat was right here, and I would teach this to young kids, but as they get older and they start playing against competition that's more handsy, more physical, more crafty in terms of getting their hands involved and being able to disrupt that offensive player, you want to start teaching your kids how to keep the basketball on their hip. So when you have the basketball on their hip, whichever way they shoot the basketball, that's where their hands have to be on their hip. You don't want to have the basketball here and here because now when you want to shoot, your hands have to do more adjusting. You want your hands here so that when it's time for you to shoot, you're into your shooting motion. But what happens is you're in the triple threat stance, and so now, because I have the basketball on the other side of my body, I'm locked and loaded. You almost can look at it like a baseball player. A baseball player holds the bat on the opposite side of the pitcher so that when the ball comes, that batter can now lock and load and be explosive and gain some momentum as he's doing whatever he's going to do moving in terms of hitting. So we want to do the same thing. You think about a golfer too. The golfer, same thing. They go back, they wind up before they swing. I know my swing looked awkward. Same thing. When I'm in a triple threat stance, I want to be right here so that as I decide wherever I want to go, I can lock and I can be explosive making that movement. So we'll talk about 3 different options of how you rip. So we have the basic situation where a defender might just have their hands here, or maybe their hands aren't very active. Maybe they're in front of you, but that person doesn't have very active hands. And I know a lot of times as the game wears on and kids get tired, sometimes you're not as handsy. You know, you want to have active feet and active hands, so you want to come up to that defender ready to rock and roll, you know, with hands. And so I know sometimes I learned how to do this. Keep your hand on top of the ball. This hand is to discourage passing the ball. And then if they switch, then you put this hand to hopefully discourage the shot, and now this hand is there to take away the pass. Well, if you come up with a defender that just kind of come like this and they're not really ready, they're not really doing anything intentional with their hands, you want to you just need to be able to just rip through. Just go from here and rip through. You just want to get that basketball to the other side of your body. You want to have to get the other side of your body, make sure it's protected before you drop. But that's the basics. But what happens when you're going against a defender who is maybe trying to take away your shot? Maybe their hands are a little higher. Maybe they're trying to get a hand in your face because they know you're a shooter. Maybe for whatever reason their hands are high. Maybe they're a taller ball player, so their approach in terms of closing out is a little low. Cool, it's a little high. You want to go low. So what I'll do is I like to use this chair and use the seat of the chair, this area right here, as a measuring stick or barometer for how low I'm getting. So when I catch the basketball, and I keep this simple, this is the basic way I teach it. I say sweep first, get the basketball protected, then I'm going to go for my pin down. I'll show it from a different angle. I want to sweep first, sweep, then I want to pin down, and from here, I'm working on my pin down, I'm getting my body close to the defender, and if I were going through another defender, if this was a live player, my next step is going to actually open that defender up. So I want to practice those same ideas on this chair. So if I'm going against somebody and their hands are high, I want to practice on my low sweep. I want to go from here, sweep, and then work on attacking my defender. So what I might do is, I might do a drill where I may come up, dribble up, come up from the baseline, dribble up, first pivot, sweep, and then work on getting low. Work on getting low, work on being explosive, work on my flexibility, my range of motion that helps me to now get my shoulders low so that in the course of a game, even when I'm tired, my default setting is to get low and go past my defender. Now let's say, for instance, I'm going against a defender who's short, okay, or their hands are low, or maybe they've been burnt by my low rip. So now they come and their hands are down here. Now maybe I'm not a shooter, okay? If somebody closes out on you and you're a shooter, you just shoot it, right? So if you're Klay Thompson, if you are, what's another shooter? There's so many of them. Kyle Korver, right? So if you close out on him, and you close up with hands low, they'll just catch it, they'll keep it up here, and then they'll let it go. But let's say, for instance, you're not a shooter, or you know you need to get to the basket because you want to get the team in a bonus, or whatever the case may be. You just want to get to the basket, and their hands are high. Their hands are low. That's when we use a high rip. So the high rip is going to be over the top, and as I take that step, I also want to drop at the same time. So now I might have the basketball on my hip. I see that their hands are low. I know that if I go low, I'm going to get myself in trouble, right? So if I try to go low, that's where they're going to have their hands, and I might not be able to win that battle. Maybe they're stronger than me, or maybe their hands are just really active, and it causes me a problem. I don't want to go to where the resistance is. I want to go to where the resistance is not. So what I want to do is now I'll just go high rip. So go here, high rip, and then drop it. I'll show you from another angle. If I catch the basketball and I see low hands, I'm going to high rip. I'm going to take that basketball and I'm going to try to create an advantage with my foot, and then I want to drop it. Same thing, if I want to work on this action, I'll work on dribbling up, jump stop. The ball is always starting in the same place, but then I go above my head or just go above my chest as high as I need to go to drop it. This is also a great move when you're working in the post. So if you're working in the post and you see that the defender's hands are right here on your backside or on your lower back, you might just catch it and step this way, right? You might just catch it, hands are here, and now you just move to the basket, or you body into the basket, or you body her to the basket in hopes that it helps you out. Here's a way that you can start using those low fakes, using these fakes, and add a little shimmy in there to give yourself separation, all right? So let's say, for instance, I want to just do a little shimmy and go, all right? I may do that same move where I'm here, shimmy, right? Shimmy and go. Little ball fake, little shimmy, little shoulder, and then I can attack. I can go cross step, or I can go the same way. Notice when I do my shimmy, I shimmy, do all my action, and then I take a step. So the false step is a shorter step. It's not the real step. It's here, just to see if that defender's going to bite. Once I see that that defender hasn't bitten, or maybe they haven't really taken that side away from me, then I go for my real step. So it's almost like a double jab, but you're adding that shimmy and you're adding the shoulder. So it looks like this. Bang. Going the other way. First pivot, and then I take my defender. Do the same thing on a low rep. I might catch you here. All right, gotta have some core strength. Catch you, reverse pivot, little action right here. Just a little action right here to see if you can get them to shift one way or the other. They might shift, they might stop and think that maybe you're coming back. So after you do the first one and then you come back, they may relax and you catch them off guard. So you might catch it and then you attack from the other way. And then I'm gone. I get a little lower. And then I'm gone. Same thing with that high rep. Okay, I see that my defender is playing me close, or maybe they're playing me close in the post, or maybe their hands are low. Cool, I'll just go high and drop. Same thing, I'm here, and then I'm dropping. Catch the basketball. Now, if you are vicious and malicious, somebody like a Zach Randolph, he'll get this in your space, because now when you see that action, you go back here. As a defender, if you go back here, you're done. Now that the defender is going, now that person with the offensive, with the ball is going to attack you. So that's another way you can, bam, catch it, drop it, see it, give him some action in his face. Defender goes back like this. Now you march onto the basket. So those are ways we can use 3 levels of jab. The waist level jab, the basic jab. We got the low jab. We got the waist rip, low rip. We got the high rip, and then we can add in some shoulders, a little shimmy, a little ball fake, and then some more footwork to give ourselves more options on how to get past our defender. Remember, there's 3 points of contact when you go past your defender. All right. So after you do this rip, you got to get your foot close to the defender. You got to get your shoulder to hit the other defender's shoulder, and then the pin down. You want to get your hand onto their hand and pin them down. So when you do these moves, no matter what you do, you always want to get your foot close to this defender's foot, get your hand on top of the chair so that you train not only your feet, train your hand with the basketball, but you also train your other hand to be active when they're going past the defender. Meticulous basketball, more drills to come.